what? We are live streaming, and I've just noticed it is actually in the Neumi member group as well as on YouTube right now. So we have successfully managed to pull off a brand new bit of technology for all your members. What does it mean? It means that we'll get ourselves out there and no one will say, I can't see it because I'm not on social media or what have you. Everyone can go to the YouTube channel right now, which has just been popped into the Neumi member chat. Now, with that in mind, today is exciting because we're going to get the flow, just so you know. We will have some updates on the website, the platform, the rollout, the tweaks that are going on. We're going to touch on just something on compliance from corporate, and then talk about the most trusted company poll, which we are ranking really well in. With that in mind, please join me in welcoming our Vice President to cover all that off, Ryan Scott.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today from all over the world. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. As you know, we had a pretty tough weekend at corporate with the loss of our CMO, and just wanted to pay our respects to him and just mention how grateful we are for the time that we had with him. It was actually a miracle what we were able to have him for the time that we did. It was his time, and we were just so grateful that we were blessed with his last 2 months on earth were able to be with us, and his mom expressed how happy he was to be with us, and how his countenance had changed. He was in a much better position, and loved working with Neumi because he was so proud of the company and the people. And he went from a consulting position where it was more working solo to working with a team. We got to go to lunch with him almost every day, and it was an incredible time that we had with him. And it was, his family told us it was just as much a miracle for him as it was for us to be able to spend that time with him. And we will miss him. And there's a lot of exciting things that are coming down the pike that you'll be learning about in the near future. And it was his idea and his passion to bring Neumi to the next level. So I don't, without ruining anything, but at the Neumi summit that we're having in July, we're going to be launching something that was his baby, that he was in charge of, and that he conceptualized. And so we're really, really excited about that. And his legacy, like Michael said, will live on. So we just want to say how grateful we are for him and what he's done. That being said, I wanted to also express my gratitude to you guys for your patience in this transition. Transitioning over 200,000 people and 200,000 positions and stuff is a hefty task, and there's a lot that can go wrong. And today we were planning on releasing the wallet, and I'll just give you a little bit of transparency. So they released the wallet at 8 in the morning, and the back office had crashed, or something had happened earlier, and their team was really upset with the lady who released the e-wallet update. And they said, "What'd you do? Everything's been rolled back, and we can't log in and all that stuff." And she said, it wasn't me. And this is at their company, by the way. They told us on the phone, and then they realized that it happened even before they released the wallet update. So it was just something that went on with their system, and a couple other clients actually ended up being affected too. So long story short, my confidence in this company that we are with is extremely, extremely high. They handle the billion-dollar companies. They are the name in the industry, and we're lucky enough to have their CEO and on speed dial, and if things got really bad, we call them and they said we're on it. And but they're very meticulous, and we're working through about 50 different tickets right now to get us where we need to be. And it's going to be a day by day, which is why we're giving those daily updates. It's just one of those things that's incrementally better as each day goes on. So thank you for being patient with us through this time. I will say that, and you may have noticed, even though we've had some issues displaying volume in today and yesterday. So you may notice that your volumes are going up quite a bit. We've noticed that sales trends have since we switched over are up about 20 to 30% day over day, which is just incredible considering the challenges that we face in this transition, which were expected. Anyways, that being said, a few of the things that we're working on, you guys should have just got an email a few minutes ago saying that the e-wallet was pushed to tomorrow due to the events that happened today. So tomorrow morning, you'll be able to purchase and set up auto ships in your e-wallet. We're working on the ability right now. A few auto ships, when you go to edit them, it takes you to a cart rather than editing your auto ship. And we spoke with them today. They're going to be fixing that. The behavior that for those people is, oh, well, you would just select the product you want and then change the date when you go to checkout. I said, well, that's not the behavior we want. If they have an auto ship set up, we want them to be able to just edit the auto ship. So they're getting that fixed. The login issues, what they're doing is currently you're only able to log in with your username, but they're adding email and username just like it was on the previous platform, and that's going to be added in the next few days. I'm just going to read a couple of these. The auto ship first time payment for customers is going to be updated in the next 2 days. Email and username. Pay history will be uploaded to the back office. For now, you can click on commissions and go week by week, but you will see your pay history in the back office. We are also increasing the timeout of the back office so it doesn't log you out so quickly. There's been a lot of expression on that subject. We are adding additional info to the tree. So when you click on your members in the tree, it used to say, you know, their volume and if they're power of 3 qualified and all that. That's being added. These are just naming a few of what's coming up in the queue. Let's see. I'm just making sure. And so that's what we have coming up in the next few days. There are also, I know on mobile, you can't search for your customers, and we are adding that as well. You are able to search on your desktop, but on your phone, there's not a search button. And we brought that to their attention as well. There are a plethora of tickets that are being worked on, and we have to prioritize them by most important, critical to wishes, right? So a critical one was, for example, today we had to get everything fixed, and then being able to pay with your wallet, being able to edit your auto ship, things like that are extremely critical, right? So you'll see the most critical things that would warrant the most complaints from your team being the first to fix. And then as every day goes on, we'll be releasing new features, and they are quick enough to where there are actual releases every single day that they're able to do. So anyways, with that being said, those are some of the website updates. We'll still keep you updated with emails. We don't want to throw everything that's in the queue, every single email. Now, I think that would overwhelm people. We're just trying to stay relevant on a day-to-day basis to show what's been updated and what they can expect in the next few days. And then with that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about a compliance reminder. I know we have some slides. So just a reminder that there is a compliance document in the back office that can help you and guide you of what's correct to say and what you should avoid to protect Neumi, to protect your business. We do have a 3-strike policy. So if ever you say something wrong, you'll just get an email from compliance asking you to fix it. For example, on social media, you don't want, you couldn't say like Neumi USA or Neumi, Europe or whatever. You can have it on the end, but not at the first. Here's an example: Mexican Neumi member, Asian Neumi team, Global Achievers Neumi. Those are all great. You can't say Neumi Mexico and Neumi Asia. It just helps protect us so that, it helps protect us as a company and help protect your business as well. Same thing with our brand titles, NutraSwish, Neumi Skin, hers, all of that. So now with that being said, before I turn it over, I just want to encourage everyone to go and vote for Neumi in the chat. I think Michael put up a link where you can go and you can vote for the most trusted companies. Right now we're 13th. Would love to get us to First, we'll see if we can share it with all your friends and family. We know we're not perfect. No one's perfect, but we are working towards an incredible platform, and we have lots of exciting things coming, and we have the most important things: an incredible product, incredible compensation plan, and incredible people. So we're so grateful for you guys. Michael put it in the chat. Send it out to your teams. Hold on to that link, and let's get Neumi to the top. Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful. Awesome stuff. And yes, multitasking here to make sure everything sticks together on this live stream on YouTube. And I've noticed some people are actually on YouTube right now watching, which is brilliant. So accessible to everybody. So aside from all of that, today what we wanted to do, we know some new members that are coming on board may or may not have an upline that's gone through and given them the basics. So what we're going to start to do on Members Night is do some of the Road to Diamond training, okay? So Road to Diamond, Road to 1-star, I should say. And so with that in mind, then we have had in the past a Road to Diamond 1-star workshop where the door is closed and qualifiers get in there to learn some of the skills to go further. This is skills just for the everyday person getting started, some very basic stuff. So firstly, if you weren't aware, if you go to the back office, if you go to the app and you click on training, there is the Road to 1-star Neumi members fast start event. You can press it, play it, understand the Neumi 1, 2, 3 process that we have, which is one of the reasons for our rapid rise and success. And success leaves clues. Having a system or a process is important. So there's a document which you can download, which is shown on the screen there. It's in the back office. And when you download it, then you can track your approach. You can find out what the Neumi 1, 2, 3 is. You'll know exactly where to find the app, where to find the Facebook groups. Everything is created for you with that. So today we're just going to talk about one topic, which is pretty much, we'll just touch on contacting, but we're going to talk about inviting, and I'm going to invite 3 different members from around different parts of the world, different teams, to share their perspective. So the way I simplify for people when they're brand new is just say, look, there's 5 things we do in this industry if you wanted to keep it simple. You know, we contact, meaning add to our list and meet new people all the time. We invite, meaning getting someone to log onto an event, come to, for a coffee or watch a video. We present, and we follow up, and we coach. Now, for brand new people, this is the exciting thing for you, because you go, that's a lot to take on board. Yeah, it is. You don't need to coach because you've got nothing to coach. You can't coach theory. You can only coach once you've got some track record. Number 2, you don't need to do the follow-ups on your own. In fact, the people getting the best results involve third-party validation. Maybe it's a group Q&A. I know the Indonesians are saying they've got 5 or 6 webinars a day every day now. Holy moly. And then they have a Q&A every day, because Jonathan said to me, I can't do one-on-one follow-ups, Michael. We've got so much growth going on. So that could be a group Q&A with an upline, or it could be a one-on-one with an upline, whatever, but you're having a third-party validation assist you when you learn to follow up. When it comes to presenting, absolutely. Presenting, being a presenter is going to be a totally different dynamic because you own your business then. But till then, use a tool, don't be a tool. There is an app with videos that you don't have to be trying to explain things, because there's videos for everything. A 2-minute video, an opportunity presentation, Steve Scott, diving deeper, you name it. So that rules that out. That leaves 2 things: contacting and inviting. Just briefly, and this is only my opinion on the industry for 30 years, what is the difference between contacting and inviting? Are they the same thing? No. In my opinion, check with your upline and coach, because I don't know all the answers in the world. Surprise, surprise. But contacting, in my opinion, is meeting people to add to my list without a Neumi agenda on purpose. Like, I don't have an agenda. Sometimes I'm sure some of you guys, I got 2 last night, and I asked them to clean up their act, where I got a text from someone adding me to Facebook, and before I even accepted it, said, hey, I just wanted to reach out so that you could check out this link. I'm like, don't do that. That's not good for you. It's not good for the industry. It's not good for anyone. This person took offense when I said that. I said, seriously, mate, you're just spamming people. So I separate contacting from inviting, because I build relationships, and I'll bring up Neumi when I'm inviting. So contacting, building a list, digging the well before you need it, continuing to meet new people. And that's not a skill unique to network marketing. That's a skill for any professional networker. Always have more friends, more contacts, more people you meet. I remember when I was in the mortgage industry, I had a manager who I wasn't fond of, and she said to me at one point, everyone's your friend. And I'm like, yeah, that's a sign of a good networker, right? And because when I had my birthday party, I had oodles of mortgage brokers wanted to come along because they were all mates. And so a good networker builds friendships without pushing their business down the throat of the person as soon as they say hello. So that's contacting. Now let's talk about inviting. When we're talking about inviting, I'm going to give you my perspective, but like I say, I don't know all the answers myself. let's just touch on what it is. So firstly, what is contacting really? Meeting people with an agenda is my version of it. And dig the well before you need it. Keep adding to your list, and that way you'll never run out of a list. Secondly, let's talk about inviting. Type in yes in the chat if you would love a fairly objection-free invitation, right? Because I find when someone says they get lots of objections and they haven't watched videos, that means they are selling. So you've jumped into presentation mode and you're trying to explain stuff. Whereas really the invitation, my job is simply to be excited enough to say something passionate enough to ask the question, if I sent you the login details for today's event to see Steve Scott live, or if I sent you the video to watch, or, if I caught up with you in a coffee shop tomorrow, would you turn up? So it's just getting them to watch a tool or catch up or whatever, booking a meeting. So this is what I do. If you want to scribble it down in some stages, small talk. I don't do that. Hey, Keith, how have you been? How was your weekend? And chat for 20 minutes, because he knows that I only did that to warm it up to then go whatever. I'm authentic instead. I'll go a quick blurb. Hey, Keith, how's your weekend? What'd you get up to? Weather up here was fantastic, blah, blah, blah. Then I will quickly go, listen, can't talk for long. So I'm going to get to the point. Now, I'm a lion personality / otter. If you do the color coding ones, I am a red-blue. So I tend to be a bit more bang, let's make it happen than say somebody who is a bit more laid back. But in your own version, in your way, the way you come across naturally, try not to waffle on with your small talk. That's all I'm saying, right? Then I go, hey, if I'm inviting to the events happening every day at the moment with the Blitz, or maybe we've got an event, I'll say, hey, Keith, but what are you doing on Tuesday at 2 p.m.? And then I shut up. So that's my first question. What are you doing on? I just clear the time. No use telling him anything or trying to sell anything or give any blurb about anything till I found out if he's free, because if you're not free, it's irrelevant, right? So if he's free, fantastic. If he's not, that's totally okay, because I can still use a video or something like that. Then the next part is I just go through my blurb, my pitch, my elevator pitch that I have. Now, these are the words I'm going to use. The good news is this is recorded on YouTube, so I speak a bit fast and you won't be able to write it down at the same pace, so don't worry, you can play it back. But my version is, you wouldn't even be aware, Keith, Liz and I are bringing a brand new nanotechnology product into the world. The results I'm seeing are like mind-boggling. I've been involved in nutrition now for about 16 years, and I've never seen people coming up with the sorts of feedback they're saying, what is this stuff? It's just absolutely spectacular. But listen, there's a great video that explains a bit about it. Like I said, I can't talk for long. If I send it through to you, only goes for 2 minutes. Do you think you'd watch it? And he goes, yeah, absolutely. Great. Look, it only goes for a couple of minutes. When do you think you'll get a chance to watch it? I'll watch it straight away. Great. So if I called you back, would you have watched it? Yeah, great. So if I sent you a video, would you watch it? And then I just say, hey, you're going to have questions. When are you free to debrief? So I book a meeting from a meeting. That's what BAM fam means. You'll learn that, BAM fam. Now, sometimes, and be prepared for it, someone's going to go, what is it? This is where most brand new people stain their underwear because they're like, oh, that wasn't in my script. So for me, just my opinion, just the way I do things, I will repeat everything I just said in a longer fashion, right? So I'll say, well, as I said, we actually have a nanotechnology breakthrough, which we're bringing to the world. And look, without trying to be everything that's in the video, we shrink particles down smaller than anyone's ever done before. We encapsulate them in ultra-purified water molecules, which means they get absorption in 30 seconds. But like I said, I'm waffling. There's a video that answers all of that. If I send it through to you, would you watch it? So I'm looping back to more information. I wasn't the guy, I was going to mention a company name then, but I won't. I'm not the guy that won't tell you anything. I can't tell you. No, I'm telling you. I amplify more on what I said, but I go through exactly the same information with a little bit more detail, so I can say I am answering your question, but then I just say, hey, but as I said, the video is going to answer that. Or as I said, the event at 2 o'clock with Steve Scott's going to answer that. So if I send you the login details, would you log in? So you see, my job isn't to explain or sell or convince. My job is just to get you to log on to the event or watch the video. That's it. So I say objection free because if you're getting objections and no one's logging on, you are overselling. Simple, right? Because that's not your job to sell. Your job is just to get them onto an event. Now, I am not God. I don't understand everything. I come from Michael Firth's perspective, and these are the words I use. And I always say to people, I personally don't believe in scripts. Do I believe in you practicing what your approach is going to be so it's comfortable in your words and you are the authentic you, the best version of yourself? Absolutely. Do I believe I would write one down and give it to you? Not in a billion years. Why? Because I say g'day, and you're going to go, if all your friends will think you've lost your marbles. What the heck is g'day? That's an Aussie thing, right? My point is, you need to be yourself. Okay. So we have some amazing leaders around the world, and the aim of members nights, we're going to keep including more and more people like that. Now, one of the people I'm going to start off with and ask their perspective is Dr. Jerry. Dr. Jerry is a crown. Dr. Jerry's team goes right across the world in all aspects. He also comes with a lot more nutrition knowledge than most people, being a doctor. So I want to show you that everybody has their own words, their own version. So if I just bring on Jerry first up, Jerry, I'd love you to just share with people, what are some of the words that you use when you make an invitation?
Well, Michael, you stole my thunder. Yeah, I could pretty much exactly what you said, because I go back 30 years ago when I was learning basically how to do this. And I love the part you said you don't have an agenda. But I want to add just an edge to that. My only agenda when I'm reaching out to people is to be a friend. I don't have an agenda to sell them anything, because I learned early on, no one wants to be sold. So you don't want to fall for that situation where you're selling something. And Michael's correct. That's where you get the objections, because as soon as you start selling and explaining, they're already starting to build the brick wall between you. They're shutting off. They don't want to be sold, but people love to buy. So my whole thing is to just be a friend and catch up. And I agree. I don't use a script. I wouldn't recommend a script, because if I have a script, it's going to come across like I'm selling. If at some point I switch to the script, it's not genuine. It's not authentic. And people, again, begin shutting you down and separating away from you. So I don't do that, and I don't teach that. But what I teach mostly is how important it is to listen. And everyone that I approach a little differently. And I want to emphasize that you get better at this. In the very beginning, I was terrible. And of course, I got lots of no's. And of course, I got discouraged. But my why was strong enough that I kept going. That's why that's your anchor, your why. And if you're in touch with your why, you won't give up, and think of it as on-the-job training. You'll get better and better, and you'll start picking up the cues, but you won't pick it up if you don't do it in the first place. So the most important thing is do whatever it is. Get on social media, which I'm not a social media person, so I pick up the phone. Meet people out for coffee or whatever you do, but do it as a friend, and that's the agenda. And as I said, everyone's a little bit different. I like to approach entrepreneurs. I like to approach successful people. And in doing that, they're always doing something. Successful people are always doing something. So I end up listening to them. So like Michael said, if it's been a while since I've caught up with someone, whether it's months or years, I'll say that right up front. Joe, it's been X amount of months, X amount of years since we've spoken. There's a reason I'm calling you today, and it's very important. However, what's going on in your life? Fill me in. That's where I activate my ears, because it's way better to listen to them. Even if they're pitching you on something, listen to them. Because if you start going against that flow, because they want to be able to express themselves. Most people look for someone to listen to them. So be that person. That builds the trust factor. That builds the connection. That builds that know, like, and trust factor that you've got to have if you're going to those next steps with someone. So listen to them. And if it's an entrepreneur, you might have to listen to their opportunity and say, oh yeah, it sounds very interesting. Can you send me something on it? Don't just throw it out and say, oh, I can't, not going to look at it. Don't be one of those people, because then they're less likely to warm up to you. So if you warm up to their opportunity and listen to what they have, now they begin to trust you a little more, and they could even ask you what you're doing, and likely they will. that's where you just create the curiosity. Like Michael said, he answers their question. But in the beginning, I don't just blurt it out. I don't just present. I never do that. Michael said, I know a lot about nutrition. I can go right down the list on every nutrient there is and tell you what it does and how it's utilized in your body and how it enhances function and all of these things. But I don't go there because if you ever saw doctors or nutritionists be that successful in network marketing, it's pretty rare because they know too much and they have trouble. Go ahead, Michael.
Quick question for you. So some people watching, and this is one of the reasons we've done this session today, have said, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? And everybody says slightly different things. If someone bats back at you, but what is it, Jerry? What would be your verbatim response normally?
I would say it's a wellness breakthrough that we've been looking for the last 50 years. And it's turning lives around. And I wouldn't do it justice if I got into it. But I would, do you have some interest in turning lives around? Do you have some interest in the most significant wellness breakthrough in the last 50 years? And that's hard to say no to. They're going to say, well, of course I do. And that's when I say, well, I can, there's an event. And I framed it as an event when Stephen Scott speaks. There's an event today at 2:00. Can you make that event? And, so if it's an event, they're more likely to make it. Wow, it's a breakthrough, it's an event. They're more likely to try to make it. But if they can't, then I say, well, we could possibly arrange a different time for you. What is the best possible time for you? What times work for you? And let's say they don't work, they work daytimes all through, so they can't go to any of the events with Stephen. Then that's when you fall back to the recorded version and you say, yes, if I send you information on this, and Michael nailed it perfectly. I always set an appointment with them. What time will you be able to look at this information? And I set the appointment because I say, I want to talk with you after and find out what you see in this. I want to know what you see. And because if you see what I see, you'll understand why I'm so excited. So that's how I handle that, Michael.
Beautiful.
But
Beautiful.
Again, everyone's a little different. If it's a customer, I'll tell stories. If it's like Karen has the call on Saturday, and there's always great stories coming from those calls. There's stories that come from my calls on Mondays. There's stories from my life, like my own father that was literally on his deathbed, supposedly only going to live 2 or 3 days back in 22, and he lived 2 more years because I had the nurses sneak some swish into him, and he started swishing. And that's a great story. So I tell stories about the product if it's a customer, if it's something, and we have lots of stories, and there's information that you can send to those customers that are based on stories. The before and after pictures, can your skincare do this? I would send that a lot because I would let them know, like let's say it's a customer, they look at that, they want the product. And I never force a customer into being involved in the business. I let them experience the product, and then I stay in touch, and then I follow up. At some point, I plant the seed. Well, I plant the seed actually right in the beginning by saying, make sure you take the before picture. Take the before picture because your friends are going to want to see that before in 30, 60, and 90 days with your other pictures. So make sure you do that. Then they can't help but get into the business because their friends literally pull them into the business. So that's just some of the kind of things, Michael, that I say and do. And again, it's not scripted. It's just truly connecting with people and following the flow of the conversation. And, and if they do make an objection, if you do say something or they do pull it out of you and they say something like, I just don't have time to do anything, that's when I say I lived most of my life without the time to do what I wanted to do. I thank God every day that that's changed, and I shut up. I let them
Beautiful.
interpret that. Or money. Oh, money's so tight. I can't, if this costs anything, I can't afford it. I say it with that objection. I meet it. I own it. I say I spent much of my life not having the money that I wanted to have to be able to afford the things that I wanted to do. I thank God every day that's done, that I can now do what I want to do when I want to do it, and just let them interpret that. I just let it go. I don't say anything, and it may happen on the follow up because I always take good notes, and a lot of it because I listen. A lot of it is them talking to me, and I take those notes. That's how I follow up, and that gives me a reason to follow up because they'll give you reason after reason after reason to follow up because they'll talk a little bit about their lives. They'll talk a little bit about their children. They'll talk a little bit about their job and all of these things. And I make those notes and I can follow up and ask them questions about what was happening around that. And it gives me an opening to follow up on. And it builds the relationship because they're like, wow, Jerry actually remembered what we talked about the last time. And maybe they don't say that, but they're thinking that. And so it builds the next level of trust. So that's the way I handle that, Michael, and obviously it works.
Yeah. Words of wisdom. Thank you for sharing. So keeping today, guys, keeping this specifically to the invitation and some words. Like I said, Jerry's, came to the same end game, but also did slightly different words. Someone with a lot of nutritional background. Yet you saw he doesn't go and recite everything he knows about glutathione, but it obviously helps, right? And again, the key is what? He's just getting someone onto an event, just getting someone to watch a video, what have you. Now, my beautiful friend Cindy, we're not even in the same team, but I love Cindy, and she's such an inspiration to so many people. And so we jokingly said before, a rose between two thorns. So I'm going to get Cindy to share her words as well. So firstly, just as the invitation, just laser focused on that, what sort of things would you say when inviting somebody?
Hey, Michael, quick one. Anyone ever chatted with you about the coolest way to take new supplements? I really hope so.
Interesting.
Or, hey, just curious, would you happen to be open to checking out a little bit of info on something that totally changed my life? If not, no worries. I just thought I'd ask.
Beautiful.
Then I shut up. I do very little talking, to be honest. I listen to them a lot, and I don't start with these. I'm listening to something and I'm waiting for an opening. They might be talking about all the things they're taking and how crappy they are. Then it's like, hey, quick one. Anyone ever talked to you about the coolest new way to take supplements? I really hope so. Seems like not because you're taking so many, but I hope so. And then I wait for them to go, what are you talking about? Um, and that's when it's just then depending on the person, and usually by then they know me, they know my background. I'm like, well, you know me, I'm an engineer, I've got all this detail, and I've been living this for the last 8, 12, 15 years as I've gone through my journey. I'd go so deep I'd put you to sleep. So why don't we just hop on a call? Why don't we just hop on? There's a call coming up in a couple hours. Why don't we just hop on that together? You up for that? Yeah, good. It's just I am short, simple, and to the point because I like to be out on my dock instead of with people. So that's kind
Yep.
of my approach.
Love it. Now, yet again, same with you and same with everybody. That thing that you're not petrified of, Jerry's not, I'm not, Keith, who's going to hear from, he's not, but some people are new who don't have an answer. People attach and join your confidence and competence and energy rather than the words you're using and rather than the product. People think, oh, the product will do it all for me. No. If you sound nervous and you don't have an answer to something and you and that is like a big repellent. It's like Aerogard for all your prospects. They're like, well, stay away from this person, right? So if someone asks you, what is it? What do you say?
Oh, it's this cool stuff that your body stops making after you get over 20, and it's like downhill from there. And everybody needs it. You really got to jump on this call to learn about it, but it's good for everything. Actually, do you remember what I looked like 2 years ago? You remember when I couldn't get out of bed and I couldn't do anything? Well, it's what got me here and looking like this. Don't you want this? We got to get on the call. You got to see it there. I can't do it justice.
Beautiful. So yet again, here we talk about, if you listen to what Jerry said, listening, Same thing with Cindy listening. But you notice none of them are trying to sell. They're just saying something passionate, something personal, a story, like you get to the head with a fact and the heart with a story. But even after the story, what's the question? Hey, if I sent you the link, would you get on it? Or if I give you the details, would you log in? So always finishing with a question to get the person to confirm the next step.
Just to the point though, Michael, I'm a little more direct. So this is probably talking a little bit more. I'm probably more connecting with people that are a little bit more lion, a little bit more direct, because I'm like, hey, we got to get on a call. It's the confidence. I assume they're coming with me. I don't really go, do you want to? I go, we got to get on the call. You got to hear this. I'm so confident that everybody needs this. I just assume that and kind of I tell them it without telling them what they're doing.
Love it. Love it.
But
And
that
that's a
will
really
only
good
speak
point.
to a certain group of people.
Well, this is a really good point. Often a brand new person who's maybe a little bit scaredy cat, you'll hear words come out of their mouth like, would you be okay if, or would you be interested? And those words never come out of their mouth, because how would you know if you're interested if you haven't looked at anything? You're not qualified to answer the question yet. But again, I'm like you, I'm a lion. I'm like, I won't even ask someone if they're interested, because how would you know? You're not qualified to answer the question. I'll just say, hey, if I sent you the video, would you watch it? Or, if I gave the details, would you log in or whatever? Now, I want to give another perspective now, again, from a different part of the world, and that is Keith Jazon, my good buddy there. Now, Keith, what do you do what sort of words do you use when you're inviting?
Well, first I want to mindset, because I used to be of the mindset that I really cared if someone accepted the invitation or not, and it would really floor me when somebody says, well, no, I'm not looking, I'm not interested or whatever. I had to develop a little bit thicker skin for myself and develop a mindset that it doesn't matter if I contact them or invite them to the opportunity or to the product or whatever, and they're not interested at this point, to not really let that bother me a whole lot. And so for the longest time, it did. And so that affects your approach a lot of times. You're worried about what you're going to say. And so I've adopted along the way that you cannot say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And so this is how things go for me, is want me to accept Indonesia. Should I hit something on that, Michael?
No, it's all good.
All right, cool. I was like, I can't speak Indonesia. So I used to make a lot of phone calls. I don't do phone calls much anymore. It's either through messenger chat or text message chat, and it's most often the result of someone liking or commenting on a social media post that I might have made. And so that gives me the context of my approach. If I happen to make a post about the product, and I know how, I'm going to talk to them about the product, or if it's about the opportunity and they liked it or loved it, then I know they may be open to an opportunity. So that's kind of where I come from, my frame of mind when I'm making that approach. So I would just simply say something in message, Michael, I noticed that you liked the post I did on such and such, and it's been a while since you and I chatted, and there's a really important reason why I'm connected with you today. But I wanted to see how things are going. I noticed on your timeline that you've been doing a lot of scuba diving lately. How's that been? And so I'll let you kind of talk about what they've been into, what they're active with, and then I'll say, well, look, the reason I'm reaching out is I wanted to find out if you're familiar with the new technology in supplement delivery. Maybe they have responded to me about the product or whatever. And if they say, no, I'm not too familiar with it, I just simply say, great. I have a 2-minute video that explains everything about this greatest breakthrough in technology. If I send it to you right now, you have time to listen to it. If yes, great. I send it, and I let them know that I'm going to go ahead and send it, give you a few minutes to listen to it, and let's reconnect. They say, no, now's not a good time. Well, when would be a good time? Later today or tomorrow, which would be better for you? I usually like to give someone a choice between now and then, like a choice between something and something. Hey, if I send it to you now, you better watch it, or would 6 o'clock tonight be better? Or if I'm inviting to the presentation, hey, 3 o'clock this afternoon, Steve and Scott, the developer of this technology is going to be speaking live and explaining how it works. Would today at 3 o'clock work for you, or are you open tomorrow? Is 3 o'clock tomorrow better? I usually like to give somebody a choice between something and something.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, again, that terrifying question, what is it? What do you say?
Hey, that's a great question. The video that I'm going to send is going to really explain everything as far as the technology, how it works, what we've been able to, but just kind of an overview. We partner with a company that's been able to take particle sizes and reduce them to less than 10 nanometers, so they really are effective with the highest cellular utilization of any supplement known in the marketplace. And what that does is it makes supplementation a whole lot more effective, a whole lot more efficient, and much, much more affordable for the masses of people. And so I'll go ahead and send you the link to that video in just a few minutes. Can you watch it now, or would a little bit later be better?
Beautiful. So again, the words that they're slightly different between all four of us, yet the commonality, what are they? Let me just bring these up on the screen, because I wrote this prior to listening to these guys talk, and I knew I trusted their leadership, and I knew they've been successful. Success leaves clues. You don't fall on the top of a mountain and become a crown or a diamond or a double diamond or whatever. So with that in mind, I already knew the answer to some of these questions, but this is the take-home lessons from what you've been listening to today. Number one, be your authentic self. So don't try and be Keith or Cindy or Michael or Jerry. You don't have to be. Be you. Take out of what you just heard from 4 different people who've been successful, whatever works for you, and adapt it into your style. Energy trumps words. So we're giving you some words just so you feel confident. Having said that, competence equals confidence. What do I mean? And I'll give you another real good example. So my good buddy, Dr. Dean Stubbs, won't mind me saying this because we're very close. One day he rings me and he goes, "Can I come up to your place and just sit and practice making some calls?" I said, "Sure." So he comes up, had a few margaritas, and then started to make some calls. I'll limber up a bit. And then I said, "Shoot, do a call." And he won't mind me telling you, it was an absolute train smash. Right? And I said, "Wow, you haven't done this for a while, have you?" I said, "Here's the thing. Do you have some core skeleton of what you normally say? Because you send it, you're just flying from here and here and here, and it was ums and ahs and whatever." He goes, "Well, not really." I said, "Okay, let's write something down that you feel comfortable with, that you can have some core. If your brain switches off, at least you remember a certain core." Like Jerry said, that's the backup, not necessarily his first approach. So he practiced a few things and came back, and he sounded like a robot talking to me. I said, "That's great. Now go back down the spare room and say it out loud 10 times, 20 times. And then once you've said it, come back and do it." He came back, and I'm like, "Now you're sounding good, but you know what's missing?" He or she who asks the questions and controls the whole conversation. Where's the question at the end? You finished with a full stop, which was my opportunity as a prospect to ask you lots of questions now. So I'm in control. So, or you notice, and I heard it with Keith, I heard it with Cindy, I heard it with Jerry, they're all finishing with a question. If I sent you the video, or hey, if I get to the details, would you log on? So you need to be staying in control of the conversation. So he practiced that. He nailed it. I said, "Now make some calls." He made 3 calls, got 3 bookings. And he said to me later, he said, "You know what? I had to say it out loud, walk around the house a few times and say it out loud again before making more calls down the track a bit, because I got rusty again." So for me, for Jerry, for Cindy, for Keith, leaders that have been doing this for some time and knew me for some time, it is conversational for us, because we're just like, "Oh yeah, we're bringing a nanotechnology product to the world." It's not a script. But if you are brand new and you have not said anything out loud on a bit of paper to start to get some of your word tracks of your own, you won't have any word tracks. So if you don't practice, it'd be a little bit like Angelina Jolie being gone, "Here's the script for the new movie." She goes, "Looks good to me. Turn on the camera." Well, how would she go? It'd be a train smash. So I'm not suggesting you read from a script, but I am recommending, if you do this, only about 5% of the industry do it. And by the way, 5% of the industry get paid extremely well. No coincidence, right? That is, they do work out some verbatim version of something as a backup plan that they write down in their word tracks, and they practice it out loud, not so that they can say the script, so that they are on top of mind, subconsciously know what they're talking about with their answer to what is it, or their approach, or what have you. So have a think about what you heard today from all these amazing leaders, pick the bits out that work for you, and then tie it into your version, practice it a bit, and then go for it. Now, remember, for the brand new people, network marketing is not that hard. I'll go back. The 5 things we do: contacting, meeting people without a Neumi agenda. Just keep adding to your list. That's easy. Coaching, not for you yet. You haven't got a track record. Present a follow-up. You should be using your upline with the follow-up so you can learn from them and answer what they say for the questions. Presenting, you don't need to be a presenter yet. That leaves one skill. So if you come off this call today, my call to action to you is to put an hour in your diary, write down your version of what you want to say to what is it and what have you, based on what everyone said today, to be the authentic version of yourself, then practice it aloud for a while, then go do a blitz of phone calls. Let's pack out the 90-day challenge calls with Steve. If they can't make it to that, big deal. There's a video in the app. If I sent you that, would you watch it anyway? So we can all bring it back on track. So I want to thank everybody for participating today. Great call. We are live on YouTube. Woohoo! So you can go to the channel anytime you want to watch anything played back in the live section. And just preempting it, start sprinting now in the 90-day challenge. We haven't announced it yet. We were going to by today. We haven't nailed the details, but there will be some promotional stuff coming from corporate in order to earn something. I was going to say earn your way, but earn something towards the 3rd anniversary summit, the most important event of the entire year, which is happening in July when Neumi becomes 3 years old. And so start sprinting now, because you will be able to qualify for something special for that event. We want to see absolutely everyone right around the world converging onto the USA for that 3rd anniversary event, which would be awesome. And finally, yes, thank you for the people typing in the chat. Straight away, before anything else happens after this call, please go click on the link. It's in the members group, for example, and vote for Neumi. We can get Neumi in the top 5 companies worldwide.